Imagine joining a trading community and securing a massive payout within your first few months. It's exactly what happened to Paul, and today we're going to find out exactly how he did it. In this video, I'm sitting down with Paul, a member of POW who's locked in a $2,500 payout within just 2 weeks of gaining access to his POW Instant Funded account. We're going to deep dive into his experience, the strategies he used, and what it's like to be a part of the POW community. So let's jump into it. Hey, Paul, thanks for joining. Just want to say thanks for hopping on and agreeing to do this. Maybe as like a starter, could you just do a quick intro on yourself? How long have you been a part of POW? How long have you been following us? How long have you been trading? Maybe just take a minute or two to just do a quick intro, and then we'll just kind of kick into it.
Yeah. So obviously my name is Paul. I'm an engineer living in Wales, UK. Trading wise, I started it was COVID sort of time. So
Yeah.
maybe just before with signals, as everybody does, I think, which is just gambling basically, isn't it? You know nothing about trading. You're listening to someone else tell you when to spend your money, which didn't end well. So I learned some tough lessons there, but it sort of got me interested. I thought there's a way of earning money online here, so got involved in different smart money groups. But yeah, trading, as you know, is just it's got better, but there's a lot of sort of snake oil tradesmen out there, and coming up with these really super complex systems that sound great, but are there to baffle you, I think, more than anything, and they don't really back it up with proven withdrawals or MD5 accounts or whatever. So I tried to learn to manual trade for a while and did okay, did little bits here and there, but never really found consistency, and then came across POW. And I think the one thing that interested me was, with a full-time job, I didn't really have time to be sat at the charts during the London Open and the New York Open. So EA sounded like a good way for me, or for trading to work for me, basically. And that's when I signed up, and I think it was roughly 12 months ago.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the signals group you started with, tell me a little bit about that. So my journey personally was similar. Like I started in, I got into this like trading room basically, which was like a Discord channel. And it was sort of, a couple of these guys in the group that were taking trades and like sharing. And then they would basically signal their trades when they were going to enter. And then everybody in the community would like rush to try to make the same trades.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, without fail, it was like one or two people would be like, "Oh, I nailed it. Here's mine." And then like others would be like, kind of. I got some slippage, or I didn't get it
Exactly.
this time." And yeah. So was that similar to kind of the group that you were in when you first started?
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't know what you don't know, do you? So
Yeah.
you think this is trading. Yeah,
Right.
to the point where I think this was a Canadian group, so a different timeline to me. I'm getting Telegram alerts during my bedtime at 3 a.m. and stuff, and it was ridiculous looking back. But it opened my eyes up to this. This can be done. This just isn't the way to do it. So that
Yeah.
sort of started my journey with trading, and albeit a very frustrating one, as everybody has, but kind of got to a place now where feels like the hard work's paid off a bit. I'm glad I stuck
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. So what changed in your mind, I guess, over time? And like, was it like an overnight thing? Did you just wake up one day and you were like, "Hey, this all makes sense now"? Or like, is there a point in time you can point to where you're like, you started to feel or notice you're becoming more sustainable or more consistent, or your mindset changed, or was it just extremely gradual?
Gradual, yeah. So I think the trouble is with trading, there's so many ways to do it as well. So for a
Yeah.
while, you're bouncing between all these different strategies, and which just confuses yourself even more. But when I started with POW, I mean, it's got a lot better over the 12 months I've got with POW. Like there's so much work that obviously yourself and Michael and John have put into it. Things are a lot more laid out and clear. There's a set way. I mean, there was information there before, but not as much as now. So, just sort of got stuck into that. There's a clear way of doing it. Just do as you're told, basically. Follow what the coaches are telling you, and it does work. And it's one of those things. I don't think you'll ever perfect it or master it, but you
Yeah.
will get to a point where you can be consistent, and you can earn some money and just carry on tweaking. And that's kind of where I am at the minute now.
Yeah. Do you have like a set in your mind? Do you have a set like profit target that you aim for on a monthly basis at this point, or are you kind of just make as much as you can, and then like, do you still do the day job too? Like, are you balancing the job as well? Like, in yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, I'm a surveyor by day, so I go out and do inspections on engineering, plant, and different things. It's pretty flexible, but I literally don't need to worry about trading during the day anymore. I got MT5 on my phone. I just check in and make sure nothing's bad's
Yeah.
happened, and I missed something. And I mean, that's it during that was the what drew me to EAs and POW basically is, I just couldn't not spend the time during the day in front of a PC. So yeah, it's I do the work on the weekends, which isn't a huge amount anymore, really. I got a system I've sort of put together for myself. I think being organized and consistent with that is important. But yeah, Monday to Friday is just checking in on my phone basically, and watching not always, but more often than not, watching the percentages rise up.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Okay. Yeah, that's when I first started trading years ago, my thing was because I had a full-time job as well. And I would California time, the US markets open at 6:30 a.m. It's 9:30 a.m. New York, which is when Wall Street opens. And so I would get up every morning super early and I'd be like, I'm going to trade for 2 hours in the morning and then just get out so that I can go do my day job. But you quickly realize like you can't necessarily do that if you're manually trading because there's no first of all, there's no way to just be like, okay, it's 8:30, I'm done. Because you never know, like if you're in the middle of a trade or there's a potential trade and now so you end up in this place where you're like, oh, I'm kind of doing my job, but I'm also like checking on the trades, and then you make bad decisions that way because you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or like you get a call and you're trying to manage all of that or whatever it is. And even in the morning, you then like start analyzing the markets before market open. It just creates all this stress, and that was what drew me to automated trading as well, is that whole concept of like, okay, wait, the work is when you want it to be. So like the weekends, for example, you mentioned it's a great thing to point out is that you can just front load a lot of the work onto the weekends so that your week you're not really doing anything except just checking the accounts occasionally to make sure everything's working as expected. But like you've already done all the heavy lift and the homework ahead of time, and then the things just kind of playing out throughout the weekends or throughout the week. The work that you've done from the weekend is paying off all week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's definitely a key part of this. So maybe tell me a little bit. I mean, obviously you've had some recent successes that you shared on the community. So in the year journey with POW, maybe can you walk me through what were some highs and lows that you went through from the start to where you are now? Kind of maybe walk me through that journey.
Yeah, so to be honest, with the manual trading, it made me really conscious of risk. So I didn't jump into it with power. I took the learning pretty slowly. I don't think I bought a challenge until sort of 6 to 8 months in, or started a cent account or anything. I just wanted to really make sure because I'd already lost money in the past. And, I know it's all expenses, business expenses with trade, and you've got to lose a bit and learn the lessons. But I
Yeah.
was okay with like, I don't want to be losing too much more here. I need to start making money now. So
At some
didn't
point,
rush
yeah.
into it. Yeah. So there was no rush for me basically. And I think Darren says it a lot as well, that it's very hard in the beginning, but when you've got past that bit, it's easy. You just let things run like I am now, and just do a little bit on the weekends, we just said. So yeah, maybe 8 months in, a few different challenges blown, which everybody does, whether you're manual trading, EA trading, or whatever. You just got to go through those lessons, and that's just how it is. You've got to lose a few quid. So that's what I did. But then I think I started with Optimal. So I've had a few withdrawals with those. I started a cent account. Not much. I think I got like 1,000 sterling in there. Yeah, just sort of ticking over. I think that does 10% a month, or just leave it alone, really. And the way I look at it, the way I've looked at this year is I'm just looking to break even. I'm okay with covering the expenses of signing up and the expenses of a VBS and all of these different bits and bobs, but probably just past that now. And I've got things set up in a way that if I carry on what I'm doing and scale, then, the rest of the year, next year could be very different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Awesome. Yeah. So what do you think is different between anything you've tried before and POW? Like what's allowed you to stick with the same thing for the last year compared to everything else you tried before that you didn't necessarily stick with?
It actually works. You know,
Yeah.
and like a lot of these trading groups that'll show you all of these amazing strategies, but they never ever shown you withdrawals or MT5 accounts, are they? So, it works for one. Although you put the groundwork in, you can still have it. This can work around a day job, which I think is a problem for a lot of people with trading. So, there's that, and it just sort of suits me really. I'm an engineer, so I'm used to dealing with data and numbers and stuff, and things need to be black and white, whereas a lot of the manual trading is discretionary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it didn't really suit my brain. So this is a lot more data driven. So yeah, it just suits me in lots of different ways, really. But the biggest one being it actually works. I think when I first signed up, I think there was a WhatsApp number that you could speak to Sam on just to ask questions. And I was just straight with him. I said, look, I've been in different groups. I've lost money. There's a lot of BS in the trading world. Why are you different? And he just showed me different at my FX book accounts, different withdrawals, and just proved that it worked. So
Yep.
yeah, that sort of got me involved then.
Yeah, that's great. Love that. Yeah, and on the analytical part, that's a big one, I think, again, for me personally, but what I see across a lot of our members is it's a data-driven way to deploy a strategy onto the markets that trades. It's not, you can ask 1,000 traders and put them all in a room together and say, hey, draw trend lines on this chart, draw support, draw resistance. Tell me where you are thinking of entering into the future, and you will get 1,000 different responses to that.
Yeah.
And I've always found that with manual trading, you sort of it's bad no matter what, whether you win or lose, it's bad. And I'll explain why. When you place a trade and it's a winning trade, you don't know that maybe you're reinforcing bad behavior because you could have just been lucky, the reason why you won that trade.
Yeah.
In your psychology, you're like, oh no, I analyzed that trend line perfectly. I'm going to keep doing that. But that might have been the wrong thing, right? On the flip side, you could be completely wrong about the trade and you could have analyzed it perfectly. It just went the other way that time,
Didn't
right?
play out. Yeah.
There's literally no winning in either direction. So yeah, that's the data driven thing is a huge part of what we do. It's it's the only way I've seen to really make trading completely objective is through automation, but then also through proper back testing, proper setting up of the set files, and allowing the bot to just decide when to enter or exit. So
And if you can measure something, you can improve it as well, can't you? That's the thing with manual trading is you can't really measure because a lot of it is gut feeling and different things,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so maybe like some more tactical questions. Like, are there specific strategies that you're running now, or like, and you said you have a systemized like kind of a process. Maybe if you don't mind sharing, you don't have to go too much into detail, but like, what is your process, and how how has it evolved over time? How is it still evolving? And then yeah, what are some of the strategies that you're running that you're seeing are working, and are those changing all the time, or are you specifically you only trade certain ways that work for you? Maybe shed some light on some of that.
So up until probably the last few months, I've probably tried every idea that popped up in the
Yeah.
Discord at the time or circle, because you're looking for, the strategy. But what you soon realize is it's about finding one that works and just tweaking and sticking with it. I think, or not just one, you can have a few, but it's about not jumping between different things, finding because none of them will ever work perfectly, but you need to sort of stick with some, understand them, and just continually build data and improve on it. So for me at the moment, the double confluence. So I think it's a H4 EMA and 5-minute ADX, and then the other settings are optimized. But I just found those to be really stable. Like even with all the madness recently with the tariffs and when everything, we had everything just went crazy, didn't it, for a couple of days. They still did okay. I didn't really go into any crazy drawdown. So that was an eye opener and proved to me that, this is one that I like. Some are okay with seeing crazy drawdowns. It's like, especially for prop firms, it's good to have something that is stable, isn't it? So at the minute I've got 2 double confluence that I'm copying over, and then one is on indices. Another is like GU, gold, euro, AUD, I think. I normally have about four sets per portfolio. So there's 2 that I actually run off. There's another that that I've got that runs, it's not so much double confluence. I forget exactly, but it'll have probably Bollinger Bands thrown in, and then it's a range trend and against for each pair for 3 pairs. So I've had that one for a while, for maybe 5 months, and that's the one I use for the cent account. Other than that, I've just got two that I'm trying to get somewhere with the single trade stuff, which I think is one of those. It's a difficult thing to do, but when you get it, it's good, because I see a few in the group, you know, and I've chatted to Michael about it, and he's doing well with it. But it's such a fine line with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not struggling with it, but I'm not quite there with it that I would copy over, you know, and use it. So, that's pretty much my five. 3 of them I use, 2 of them I'm just testing on, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the unique thing too here is that to your point, I call it the personality of the account. You start to learn the personality of the account and some of the characteristics with it if you keep it long enough. If you stick with it and you allow the history to build up, and you're fine tuning as you collect more data, but like they all have a personality. Like there's some of my sets that I know, generally speaking, don't go into a ton of drawdown, but sometimes they do. And when they do, I know that I can bulk copy those into like a fresh account. So anytime like I want to pass a challenge, if I see that those things are in deep drawdown, I see that as an opportunity to just bulk copy that onto a fresh challenge, because if it does come back, it's
Yeah,
6, 7% potentially right away that I can make. And that's just something that I know. I know the risks with that too. I know the pros and cons, but I've
yeah,
seen those sets go into drawdown and recover so many times that I have the confidence to say like, okay, it's worth the risk to me. And I know what the
yeah,
probability, generally speaking, looks like with that. So as you start to hang on to these things and tweak them, you start to understand them, and you sort of can deploy them at the right moments of time, depending on what you're trying to accomplish and what your goals are. So it sounds like, and then on the other hand of that is what you're describing is having a couple of accounts that are specific for research or trying new ideas and new concepts. The single trade one's interesting because people either love it or hate it. I've noticed like there's people that like get it and it's right in line with their psychology and they're great. And then there's others that are maybe they don't hate it, but it's challenging. It's a little more advanced, I would say, to try to piece together and figure
yeah,
it out
it
and
is.
practice for it. And we've got some upgrades to Portfolio Builder coming soon to hopefully make that part of it easier as well. But yeah, it definitely is. But it is also a little, once you do get it, I find it to be a little less stressful on the risk side, because it's every trade is a controlled risk. You can set it to
Yeah,
1%, 0.5%, whatever you want. So even if those don't do well, the likelihood of it blowing your account is incredibly low as long as you're running them, in the right way. So
yeah.
you get a little more time to play with those and build the account back and all that. So just an interesting different strategy. So
You can sort of preempt, well, not preempt the drawdown, but you can cap the drawdown then,
yeah,
can't you?
you
So
have control.
if
Yeah.
you've got a set that is going to lose 1K a day, and you've got 2 on that portfolio, it's only ever going to lose 2K in a day. So that's the nice part about it. I think when you get it, not a million miles off, but
Yeah.
that's the nice bit, I think, for certainly for prop accounts, just so it's you know exactly if you were to lose what you are going to lose in a
Yeah.
day. So.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of Portfolio Builder, how has that changed the way you trade and the way you operate? I mean, maybe walk me through kind of your feedback and perception of Portfolio Builder and what your thoughts are around it.
Yeah, really good. So, I mean, when I started, we didn't have which I forget the names of each one now, but the one that actually builds out the HTMLs and the graphs and the CSVs and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. There's
Yeah,
there's
well
5
said.
parts to it basically, isn't there? So that was a new thing. Portfolio picker was a new thing. I'll be honest, I don't use, because I started back then and I sort of started building my process then. I don't really use the portfolio picker part.
Yeah.
I will do. I'm just going to worry about getting this bit right, and then I'll dip into
Sure.
the newer parts. But yeah, that takes so much time out of it, because you could leave tests on overnight previously, but now you can leave all the single tests on to just carry on, and then I'll just get up in the morning and decide which sets I want to use. For me personally, I do other than the single trade stuff, I do 6 month back tests, a third forward, and although you could say that would give me 2 months of live. I normally just re-opt every month. So I've got a spreadsheet with dates on, and any sort of information I think that's useful. And I just keep on dipping in and out of that. Is there anything that needs re-opting? Even if a portfolio is doing really well, it'll still get re-opted on that date or within a day or two. So I've just got this routine, regardless of if it's doing good or bad, it needs to be re-opted and it needs to be added. And that just works for me. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that so you said earlier, like the system is really what enables you to be stress-free and also sustainable, I guess, and have this kind of long-term approach, long view approach to it. So Portfolio Builder obviously helps with that because of all the automation. So previously, like it was, so if you had like the original version of Portfolio Builder, prior to that, we were using Quant Analyzer, which is a third-party tool, and then there's another one, I forget what it was called, but it actually did the because one of the first problems we ran into is if you wanted to run like 6 or 7 different back tests, you'd have to wait for one to be complete, go back to your machine, save all the files
yeah,
somewhere, start the new one, and you would basically like be bouncing back and forth from your computer every few hours while tests were completed. So there's a tool that we found that automated that part of it, but then like so we had all these separate things that we were trying to like collate together. Portfolio Builder all of a sudden took all of it and just like now you just push the button and it like step by step, it actually
yeah.
80% of the process is automated through there.
It's crazy how much that's moved on in the time that I've been with POW as well. I'm always amazed. There's obviously Chris who does all of the tweaks and looks after that, and I'm always amazed at the next new idea he's got for it. And it's
Yeah.
just constantly improving. And sometimes you're like, oh, what's this new thing now? What do I need to understand? But it's brilliant because for somebody coming in now, they've got to do so much less than somebody. You guys who've done it for years, I would imagine, is completely different now. The amount of time this needs to go into it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even close. Yeah. And and even it blows my mind sometimes too. Chris will come to us and say, hey, I was playing around with this idea. Like, look, I put it into like a dev version of Portfolio Builder, like give this a shot. And we open it up, we're like, holy crap, like what an idea. It's like it's just like, he's so in tune with where the friction is. Like every step of the way, it's all about removing friction as much as we can. And to your point, yeah, new members signing up today are miles ahead of where you probably were a year ago when you started. So it's even
Yeah.
easier for them to ramp up as long as they follow the system. So
And with
yeah,
the POW fund as well. I mean, that's another game changer. Just, the amount of rules that I've had to try and incorporate into my test, or rules that I need to meet with my portfolios. Whereas now,
yeah,
it's just 10% drawdown. That's it. It's good in some ways that I've had to do the hard miles. I've had to work out all these other things, and now I'm like,
yeah,
this is easy
yeah.
now.
It's funny.
But yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same way too. Like with those accounts, I'm like, wait, 10% drawdown, like that's a piece of cake. That's no problem because I'm so used
yeah,
to like 5% daily on props or whatever. But yeah, and I like personally, I didn't even change. Like there's a psychological decision to make where you're like, well, if it's you have all this drawdown, like do you just like double the risk essentially, or like double the lot size potentially? But I'm like, I kept everything. Personally, I'm at a point now where like I take on so much less risk than I did when I started. And I think that's the same for a lot of people that I've talked to, where you start to hit this point where you realize it's not about making a bunch like large chunks of withdrawals and large chunks of profits. It's about like just consistently being profitable at any amount because
yeah,
it's a lot easier to marginally scale up once you have all the confidence that you've been profitable for several months in a row than it is
yeah,
to try to just like out of the gate hit, big number of targets. Like even if you're making any, I always say if you're making anything, you're better than 99% of traders because only
yeah,
1%.
exactly.
Yeah.
And just that keeping your risk low. And I think that's another big thing. That was probably one of the big changes for me is going right. You know, this is a long. I'm in this for the long game. So stop rushing to try and pass challenges. Stop rushing to try and make X amount per month. Keep it low. It's less stressful because you're not constantly checking, am I anywhere near a drawdown limit? It's like I've not been anywhere near that on this portfolio. So why would I need to keep on checking on it?
Yep.
So yeah, that's been a big thing as well, is just turn everything down and just let it take over in the background. It's much less stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. That was at some point for me personally as well too. In trading in general, there was a guy early on in my like journey. This was probably 12 years ago now or so. There's a guy named Al Brooks that I used to follow, and I never took it seriously what he would say, but he would say like whatever, like in your head, pick a size that you want to trade that is really, really small, like as small as you would go, that you'd be comfortable trading, and then cut that in half. And that's the size you should trade. And it was always like something I would laugh at, but I deeply understand what he means by that now. Because when you do that, all of the stress goes away. It just becomes so much more casual, and like losses aren't a big deal and drawdowns not a big deal. So you're able to think of things more logically. And then of course, if you need, like, you can always incrementally grow that number as you get more and more confidence and comfortable. But it's so helpful to just trade small. The biggest piece of advice is trade small and then go from there. But
Yeah, exactly.
would you, I guess one last thing to kind of wrap on, would you recommend POW to other people? And if so, like what would you say to somebody that was looking to join? And like if you had one piece of advice or one comment, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in trading, and you've got to be interested in trading as well, because it's trading is not an easy thing to do. But if you're serious about it, you'd struggle to find any way with the results that POW has, and I've found out the hard way with that, so I can definitely stand by that. Be patient, put the time in. Don't expect to be earning anything for 6 to 12 months. I would say personally, maybe longer. It's look at it long term. Like for me, I'm thinking years. This could take me years. It's probably not. I'm probably ahead of where I thought I would be, but I think the minute you start rushing it is the minute when things start going wrong, and then when you start losing money, you get more frustrated. And so, yeah, take your time, and just follow the plan. Really, it's all laid out for you in POW. So, yeah,
Yeah, great. I couldn't agree more. I think it's patience, following the plan. Anytime you rush, that's when you make bad decisions. I always ask people like why do you need to be profitable in the first month you join something? Like what's driving that? Like what's so critical? And usually it's nothing. It's just like anxiety or whatever. But
yeah.
yeah, awesome. Okay. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate you jumping on. Appreciate giving me the time and sharing this with us. It's been really great. Oh, actually, you know what? One other thing I wanted to actually just ask you. I'm sorry, I skipped over this. When did you start POW Instant Funding? When did you get the account?
I don't even know if it was a month ago. It
It
wasn't
was like
far
maybe,
off.
okay. All
Yeah,
right.
4 or 5 weeks, if that. And I think I had a withdrawal within 2 or 3.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. And then the withdrawal. So you'd started like maybe like 3 weeks ago, requested withdrawal after, I think because it's 14 days minimum you had to trade, and then you requested
Yeah.
withdrawal. And then when did you receive the withdrawal amount? Like how long after you
two,
requested?
two, 2 days, I think. Obviously, I was the first to put in a withdrawal, so there was a few little teething things, wasn't there? But there was nothing major. I think you sorted it within 24 to 48 hours, which is completely different to I'm dealing with a prop firm now where it's turning into weeks and months. So yeah, just it's a game changer, that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, congrats on being the first to get a withdrawal too, by the way. That's awesome. You were
Yeah, thanks.
it's always the fast actors too. You can always tell the people that are on the right trajectory and path to do well, because there was like no hesitation. It was like get the account, start trading in it, get to the withdrawal. Like it was, and it's not like you withdrew, by the way, like an insane amount of money. Like it was I think it was like 2.5%. It was very modest. It was like
Yeah,
just right in line with if you're doing everything right, that's what it looks like. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, congrats on that, and hopefully more to come too. So.
yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Always reach out if you ever need anything, of course, as always. But we'll see you around.
Nice one. Yeah, cheers, Cam.
I hope you enjoyed that interview and got some real insight into what's possible with POW. Hearing Paul's journey firsthand really shows you what happens when you have the right tools, right mindset, and the right community behind you. If you're ready to take your trading to the next level and want access to real capital and powerful tools like Portfolio Builder, Banker EA, Red Alert, as well as a supportive community, click the link in the description and apply now. And don't forget, POW's instant funding offer lets you start trading with a $50,000 funded account within 12 hours of signing up. No challenges, no delays, no prop firms needed. If you found this video inspiring, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more real stories and trading tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.